What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is the Real Housewives of Miami, season 5, episode 3. So I kind of overlapped last episode and this episode. They were still at the party and that whole situation with Larsa and Lisa. But see, that's why I like watching episodes more at one time, because then I'll be overlapping stuff in my head. But suffice to say, everything that I said had happened, okay? They were still arguing. Lisa was still mad at Larsa about the comments that she made and was trying to fight. And everybody got them to stop because they were like, look, this is Alexia's day. The last thing she needs is for that day to be ruined. Okay? Okay. Copiche. Okay. So, we have the montage that we see everybody doing. We see Nicole on her way to work. And we see Lisa getting ready to get in the tub. Child, she don't know how to open up the bottle, child. Okay. But we see that, I really feel like Julia is going through some things. She's got the empty nest syndrome. She really doesn't like living in Miami. She really likes living on the farm with her animals. Martina's gone a lot, and so she decided that maybe she'll get back into modeling. She was once a model, and so Kiki hooked her up with her modeling agency, and she has a meeting with the people. Now, it's 3 people there. And what they she bought her book, and of course it's old pictures because she hasn't modeled in a long time. But what they said was, look, the modeling world has changed, right? You're not too old. There's a lot of work for people in your age group. We're looking, they said the modeling world is looking for people all shapes, sizes, colors, ages, and everything else now. And it's just a lot more diverse than it was when you were probably modeling, 20 years ago. And so they said that, listen, we'll take some pictures, we'll put them up on our website, and we'll see if any of our clients are interested, and then we'll take it from there. So, I think that was a fair meeting. They didn't promise her anything, but they said, hey, we're interested in adding you to our repertoire. And if people like what they see and they get in touch with us, then we'll see what happens. We'll make it happen. We'll connect it on up. Then we have a meeting with Alexia and Marisol. Alexia and Marisol, again, they're recapping the party and how fun it was and how great it was and everything was cool. They let Marisol let her know, listen, Larsa and Lisa was trying to get into it, but we ain't let them do it. And she said, yeah, because, my son was saying that y'all were fighting, and before I left today, he told me to be nice because y'all were, she said, I didn't know nothing about it. And Marisol was like, good, because you weren't supposed to, you didn't need to. Because, of course, you were celebrating, and we didn't. I'm glad you didn't know. So then she says, well, I saw your other son, the oldest son. I see that, he might not be the oldest son. But anyway, the other son, the one that had the DV situation, domestic situation. And she said, she was like, well, who was the girl that he was with? Is that his new friend? And she was like, no, that's the same girl. And she said that what had happened that night was that they were fighting. She had been drinking. The girl had been drinking. She wanted to leave. He wouldn't let her leave. He took her keys from her. She called the police. He called her. And she got over there. But, she said she got there, but the police still arrested him. The charges were dropped. Everything was cleared up. But they've since gotten back together, and they're back in love and they're working it out, and they're back in love. And so, her thing is, I'm side-eyeing the whole situation because I'm like, listen, I don't like that. I don't like my son getting arrested. I don't like, and if, so she said, it's taken me a while to sort of warm back up to her. Now, later on in the episode, they have a conversation. She has a conversation with her son. And she said, I don't want to, me and him we don't talk like we used to because, of course, he's with his girlfriend or whatever. She said, but I don't want to push because I already know what ends up happening when you push too hard and you push him away. So they end up going to lunch, her and her son, and I feel like she was trying to have the conversation with him without coming off too pushy. She said, listen, I don't ever want to be the one to tell you who you should date. Your mom, my mom was very pushy with me. She stopped speaking to me for a year after I married your father. She didn't like my last ex-husband. So I don't want to be that mom. But at the end of the day, like, I am your mom, and I ain't going nowhere. And I love you dearly. And, maybe somebody even say I have an unhealthy connection to you, but I'm not going to do that. And he said, well, you may not have wanted to do that, but you kind of did. And you kind of have made some of my relationships kind of, more difficult because you always give my girlfriends a hard time. You never really warm up to them. And she was like, really? She said, and I hate when people do this. So she went from that to, oh, so it's my fault that you haven't been able to, have good relationships. Oh, it's all my fault. Everybody else gets a pass. It's never your dad's fault, but it's all my fault. And I'm like, that is not what he said. He didn't say anything was all your fault, but he did say that the way you treated his girlfriends in the past have made things more difficult. That is what he said. Anyway, she heard what she wanted to hear, child. She got offended. And she was like, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I am who I am. And I was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's what's going to push him away. Okay? Because you're doing too much. You're doing too much. But anyway. Then we see Larsa. She goes out with her dog trainer. Because she said, they went from this big house to this little apartment. And her dogs aren't used to being cooped up. They're not used to not having, being able to go outside and run around and do the things they used to be able to do. And so, I had to kind of get them retrained, again, because, things weren't that great. So we also found out that she has a whole lot of other businesses that she's invested in. She's got her OnlyFans and her jewelry line, and she's invested in a dog collar business. And so we see her, doing her content outside. I ain't mad at you, Larsa, but I just really felt like this scene was a way for you to promote all your businesses. And again, I ain't mad at you about it, but child, we ain't gonna sit here and pretend like that's all, this scene was anything more than that. This was one of those episodes, like, people would use the term a filler episode, and this was sort of a filler episode, because it really wasn't a whole lot here, but them continuing to lay the foundation for Lisa and this divorce that we know is coming. So then we see the ladies meeting down at the beach. They've got, a little setup and reserved, chairs with umbrellas and food and hors d'oeuvres and all these wonderful things. Julia brings her dog child. And so they're out on the beach. Nicole is there. Kiki, Alexia, Julia, and I think Adriana ends up coming. So So, of course, they have to bring up the argument again between Larsa and Lisa. And, of course, again, half the ladies are like, why do we care? Why are we talking about mortgages? Like, why is having a mortgage a bad thing? Who cares about somebody having a mortgage? Why are we talking about it? And, again, I just think everybody is missing the point that Larsa brought that up in response to Lisa talking ish about her and where she lives. Like, y'all are making it seem like Larsa just pulled this up out of nowhere and decided to, come at her. Like, I feel like it was warranted. I don't feel like it came out of nowhere, but whatever. So then, they were talking to Nicole about her relationship with her dad and just letting things go. Like, listen, like, your dad, he went to jail. He paid his debt. He wasn't there. He missed out, but that's his loss. But at this point, and Alexia said, listen, I lost my mom during COVID. I lost my dad, when I was young. And basically she was like, girl, life is short. Suck it up, buttercup, And my thing is this. I see both sides of that coin. I see the side that says, listen, your dad is still here. He made some mistakes, but give him a second chance. But I also see the side of Nicole that says, listen, I hear what y'all are saying, but I'm still very hurt by what my dad did, because he not only did he do it, but he has no accountability. He has not owned up to it. He doesn't take responsibility, and I'm still very hurt behind that. I see both sides of that coin. But Nicole, at some point, you're just going to have to make a decision. Do you want a relationship with your father? Whatever form that comes in, because everybody ain't going to be, the perfect dad or the perfect, like, your dad drinks. Your dad is a jokester. He doesn't take anything seriously. You have to just deal with him in the bubble in which he comes, or don't deal with him at all. Because what you're not going to do is change that man. Like, he's got to be in his 60s. You ain't going to change him. I mean, that's just that. So then they start talking to Adriana about her boyfriend. She had the one boyfriend last season who was a doctor, and she talks about how he treated her bad, and then he basically revenge porned her. Not porn. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. He didn't do that. But he, like, posted pictures online, because I guess he's a plastic surgeon, and so he posted her before and after pictures online, and he basically put their business out on social media after they broke up. So she had another guy with her at the wedding. She had a different guy with her at the wedding. But Alexia said, look, girl, I think he's married. Like, I was told that he's married. And Adriana was like, no, I don't think he's married. She was like, okay. She said, listen, do what you want with it. But I'm just telling you what I was told. You know, I'd be a sucky friend if I didn't pass that information on to you and tell you what tell you what was said to me. So, do with it what you want. But I'm just telling you, what was told to me. So, it is what it is. And y'all know how Adriana is. She was like, well, why is she worried about it? Why is she in my business? Girl, she just trying to look out for you. Some people you just can't look out for, child. Now, over to the Hodgkins. Is it Hodgkins? Resident Lisa and Lenny. Lisa planned a romantic dinner for Lenny, honey. And, they're talking. And Lisa is just, I don't know if she really is an airhead, but she plays the part really well. And I think, like, again, they're purposely showing us these scenes for us to show how bad it is when he finally does divorce her. And so, she has a chef there. And she said, we're going to eat outside. We just have a nice romantic dinner for you and all that good stuff. And so while they're talking, she starts talking to him about what happened on the boat. And she says, Larsa's like, not only do you have one mortgage, but you have two mortgages. And he was like, well, you know what that is, right? She was like, yeah, it's our equity line of credit, our home equity line of credit, right? And so then he starts talking about, yeah, and I opened that up so we would have cash if we needed it, but I haven't had to touch it. I mean, it's got a zero balance. And I'm like, okay, then. Again, okay, then. Like, because I don't care. I don't think it's a big issue if they have a mortgage or not. But at the end of the day, I think the point that Larsa was making was that y'all rent your house out. And ain't nobody addressed that. Like, that part, ain't nobody said nothing about them renting the house out. Like, she has not brought that up again. That's how I know it's true. Because that has never been part of her argument. Her argument is always about, well, you act like we can't afford our lifestyle and we have a mortgage. Girl, what about the fact that she said y'all rent that house out? And again, I don't care about that either. But, girl, the fact that you ignoring that tells me there's some validity to it. But anyway. So while they're out there, somebody, I guess one of their house staff, comes out and lets her know that the maid fell and broke her arm and they might need to take her to the hospital. So Lisa's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. She goes in, you can hear them talking to the woman. And Lenny, who is a whole doctor, was like, Lisa was like, okay, we need to call 911. And he was like, no, we don't need to call 911. We're going to put some ice on it. She hurt her wrist. So first of all, she didn't break her arm. It's her wrist. Second of all, we're gonna put some ice on it, and she's gonna go to the emergency room. He was like, that's not what you call 911 for. And she was like, well, we need to call 911. She's hurt. We need to call 911. He was like, no, we don't. We're gonna get her car. Now, first of all, I don't understand why one of y'all couldn't took that woman to the hospital, but they talking about putting her in an Uber. Why y'all got 5, 6, 7 cars? Why y'all can't take that woman to the hospital? Now, I thought that disturbed me more than Lisa wanting to call a damn ambulance, because people call ambulances all the time for stuff they don't need to call an ambulance for. So that didn't even bother me. What bothered me is that y'all act like y'all can't take that. Like, that woman works for you. She takes care of your children. Y'all can't drive her to the damn emergency room? Now, listen, nobody wants to go to the emergency room. Even the people that got to go to the emergency room don't want to go to the emergency room. But y'all couldn't take her? Y'all was going to put her in an Uber? Anyway, so Lenny said, he said, call her an Uber or something, but don't call 911. So Lenny goes back into the room, and Lisa walks over to the chef, and she says, I think we should call, I know he's a doctor and everything, but shouldn't we call 911? Now, bruh, because the chef is a bruh, okay? The chef is a brother. Bruh, you didn't need to get in that. That's married folk business. You should have said, I don't even know. He gonna say, if it was me, I would. Bruh, that ain't your, you know better than that. You know better than to get in the middle of that married people situation. So Lisa gets on her phone again like she get ready to call 911. So Lenny comes out and he is pissed. He's like, Lisa, do not call 911. That is an abuse of the system. She said, well, what is it for? He said, 911 is for people who can't get to they're incapacitated or they're having an extreme medical emergency. It is not for somebody that broke their wrist. Girl, we got 20 cars here. We can take it to, he said, we're going to take it to the hospital. And then that's where the episode ends. I said, y'all just gonna make sure that we know how bad this thing really is. Because I feel like if Lisa and Lenny never got divorced, I feel like some of these scenes we wouldn't be seeing. But the fact that we know what ends up happening 2 episodes down the line, y'all are building this up for us, which is what you're supposed to do. I'm not mad about it. But it's just funny to see these things, right? Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.